Hello YouTube. This week I've got the keys to a 2019 Mini Cooper 3-door. Let's take a look. So this is new for 2019. They've made a few changes. It's not a huge amount of changes. It's your typical Mini look. This is a 3-door manual transmission. It's a 1.5 liter 3-cylinder engine, and it's turbocharged. It's got 134 horsepower. Small little car, cute little car. They've improved the suspension, I find, since previous cars. I used to find them way too stiff for the average person. But this one, I've been driving around. I've done almost 700 kilometers in it, and I have really no complaints about it. New LED tail lights on this thing are really cool. And I'll pop the trunk here. You'll see it's not very big. So this model is 25 grand. It's not very big. You got a pretty small trunk here, but you do have some depth to it. And, you know, a little bit extra space down there too. And you do get a tonneau cover, which you don't get in some very expensive cars. 60-40 split seats. So if you flip those down, you'll see here you've got quite a bit of space. I haven't had an issue with space really. Crawl in here. Pull this back up. I'm not going to sit in the back. I'll show you the back. Typically I sit in the back and show you what it looks like, but really it's way too small. As you can see here, legroom is pretty much non-existent, and not super fun to sit in the back of a Mini Cooper. It's really not the 3-door anyways. You can sit back there, and if you go out and to buy one, the salesman will sit back there if you're two people, but they're not going to enjoy it. So you've got, it's a manual seat, and it's got bucketing, and it's got fore and aft, and it also goes up and down, so you can crank that up and down. Let's take a look on the inside. All right, up front here, this doesn't have as many things as kind of a lot of the cars that I review have, but there's still, a few things to go through here. We've got automatic headlights, which is down here on the left-hand side. The one thing about the Mini is kind of got these funky switches and stuff, so you see here your start button here. It's pretty cool. It kind of lights up and glows at you, get ready to start it, and you just push that down. It's got auto start stop with this switch here. To be honest though, it hasn't done it all the time I've been driving. I'm not quite sure why. Climate control is here. It's manual, so you've got to turn your fan on, and you've got your temperature controls here, and you'll see here when we flip this temperature control, it probably has to be started. So let's start it up. And it does these interesting bings. And you see here, this is glows with the temperature control. It's really cool. Hopefully the camera can pick this up. You can see this is where you are now, and it'll actually move as I move the knob. It'll move up. The white is where it's pointed on the screen there. So that's pretty cool. The fan as well. And when you turn the fan up, this actually lights up to adjust with the fan, which is pretty cool. I like that. We'll just shut it off. We've got buttons down here with the menu, and this is for communications, back options, media, so quick keys, as well as this knob to flip through here. So you can flip through the screen here, and you can see what's going on with the car. This one doesn't have nav or anything, so it doesn't have all the features, but you can see here you've got a trip computer in here, and I've done 670 kilometers in this car, and I've averaged 5.8 liters per 100 kilometers, so it's pretty good. It is a small engine, and there's quite a bit of oomph in this little 3-cylinder engine. You've got your phone communication, and you've got text notifications and stuff if you're using that, and of course music. It doesn't have Sirius XM on this one, but it's got your AM FM, so it's pretty basic for cars these days. I mean, it's not basic whenever you think back to cars that didn't have any of these screens, but it's basic for these days. And if you switch it, I'm not gonna have to start it up again. If we put it in reverse, and just wait a second here. There we go. So we've got a backup camera there, as well as parking sensors on there, and you've got your volume knob here as well for your music, and you've got quick keys here for programs and that. So it's kind of nice to have those things as well. Heated seats as well here, and your little controls. You can see there's a bunch of blank buttons kind of here for different things. You've got a 12-volt power plug down here, as well as a USB power, a couple cup holders. In this screen here, this shows you your trip and that in here, and you've got your speedometer and your tach on the left-hand side. If you adjust the steering wheel, this all kind of moves together, so you're never gotta get it out of the out of your view. It's always like in the middle of this steering wheel. Although it depends on your height, because if you're in, let's say I'm like really tall, it might be a little bit hard. It might be out of the range. Like if you like the steering wheel low but you're tall, it's not going to work for you. You're going to have the steering wheel up so you can see in there. So it's a plus that it moves with it, but it could be a downside depending on the way you sit in the car. It's also telescoping, so you can pull that out as well. And it's got Bluetooth on there on the steering wheel as well here, and your volume controls. And then on the left, you've got your cruise control switches as well. It does have power windows, so it's got auto down on both sides. So you can just flick that, and that'll put the windows down, which are huge, because this is, of course, the 3-door, right? So it's got quite big windows. This is quite far, and this is kind of all rubbery dash. But it is quite far. Like, this is a big dash, and when you pull down the sun visors, it seems really, really far from you, and they don't pull out, so this is all you get. But you do get side visors, which is nice. So you've got the side visor and the front visor in this car, but as you can see, they are far. Microphone up here for the Bluetooth audio and that. And you can see here, most cars will just have like a circle with a line, but I think with the Mini, because it's kind of a quirky car, so they decided to show you that it's a microphone straight out. Like, all these switches are kind of old school, and I think they're kind of cool. The first few generations, I wasn't that big of a fan of these things, but it's kind of grown on me as I've driven them over the years, and I kind of like them. And these, you feel like a pilot with these flick switches. They're kind of cool here. And you've got this gigantic sunroof, this panel roof, which is a $1,300 option, I think it was, in Canada. And you've also got a blind for the back one too, so you can manually open and close the front and the back blind there. So that's kind of cool. And it's a gigantic sunroof, as I said, and so you can add that on as a separate option. So like, this is the base model. As I said on the walk around, it's $25,000. So it's $23,000 to start. Add the panel roof. It adds like these seats, upgraded seats, and a few other little options here and there, and then it's $25,000, which is not that bad when you think about it. Of course, this is manual transmission, so you have that, and you'll pay an extra $2,000 or $1,500 for the automatic. You step on this thing, it goes pretty quick. I mean, it's not the fastest car in the world, but it only weighs 2,600 pounds, which is pretty light for a car these days. 134 horsepower, so you think what comes with 134 horsepower, basically your compact cars, right? So your Civic and that, they're a little bit more now. They're like 150, 155. They used to be about 130. And they were a little bit heavier than this, so you're getting a pretty light car for today's standards. You think it'd be lighter based on its size because it's so darn tiny, but it is. It's well built. It's a solid car. When you're riding down the road, you don't feel like you're in a really tiny car. Besides the fact that you can reach over to the other side. It's got some cool features. It's got hill hold. I'm gonna stop here, let go of the brake. There we go. Let go of the brake. I'm not rolling backwards. And then wait a second. Now the car starts rolling backwards. So it does have hill hold on the manual transmission. I believe it does have it on the automatic as well. The one thing I will complain about this car is just the seats. I wouldn't get the whatever these are called. They're a fake leather seat. Go with the cloth if you're going to get the cloth, or get the leather, because I find these very, very hot in the summer. Not even a hot day, and half hour, 40-minute drive on the highway, and my butt was just sweating, and my back was sweating, and just not fun. So I would avoid these seats if you can. The drive of this car, really super fun to drive, as you would expect. Handles awesome. No wind noise or anything like that. It's really, really built well. The last few Minis I've driven, I've liked. I used to not really like them. Like, I thought, okay, they drive okay. They're kind of fun to drive, but they'd be so stiff on the road. It were just not fun on our bad roads. If you had, perfectly smooth roads, they were fine. But as soon as you got into kind of any bumpy, potholy roads, you just wanted to shoot yourself, and it was horrible. And now they've upgraded the suspension, or they've made it softer somehow, but it's still sporty feeling. Really, really great, fun to drive. The car feels solid, quiet on the highway. You can cruise on the highway for hours, no problem in a small car. Doesn't dart around in the wind or anything like that. Really, really fun car to drive. There you have it. That's the 2019 Mini Cooper 3-door. Really, really fun to drive. I kind of want one now. I've never really wanted one because I drive them. All the press cars I drive would be too stiff, as I mentioned, and really, really expensive for what you got. You get 50 grand. I'd be driving a John Cooper Works edition, which was cool and fast, but always just too much money. I couldn't ever justify it. But a base Cooper is actually super fun to drive and not that expensive. For what you get. You can't get that much these days for $23,000, and it's a pretty nice car for $23,000. So thanks for watching. Please subscribe to my channel and like this video. Thanks.